Am I the a-hole for not eating food my girlfriend's parents made at family dinner? My girlfriend of 4 years has a different cultural background than mine. Her parents are not from America, and family and meals are very important to them. I grew up in America, and while we had holiday dinners and maybe a Sunday dinner every couple of weeks, for the most part, mom or dad made something and then we ate it where and when we wanted. I eat dinner with my girlfriend's parents every week, and I love it. It is important to her, and I have no problem with different cuisine. It's all delicious food. However, I did not eat a lot. Growing up, I was very overweight and saw a nutritionist, stuck to a calorie deficit and worked on my portions, and I've been at a healthy weight ever since. My relationship with food has changed, and I no longer have the desire to tear through 2 double quarter pounders anymore. My girlfriend's parents seem to get offended that I get small portions of things and don't fill my plate up a second time. They will make maybe 5 to 6 different food options, and I'll get a little bit of everything because I want to taste it all. At some point, every time I'm there, they ask me if I didn't like the food. They mention the small portions and how I never go back for more. I just honestly tell them that I don't overeat. They've never made a scene about it to me, but I guess they've been discussing it with my girlfriend while I'm not there. A couple of days ago, my girlfriend told me that her parents feel offended over how little I eat, which a little is a 100% full plate with a bit of everything made. And some days I eat less or some days I eat more. It really depends. If I skipped breakfast, had a light lunch, I might fill up more for dinner. But if, for example, I got a decent breakfast, work catered sandwiches that day, I'm going to get a normal, small size dinner. My general goal is to have equal-sized meals each time, but with a busy work life, that's not always possible. So some days I don't have any food until family dinner, and I'm eating more than usual. My girlfriend asked me if it were possible that I could eat a bit more just for them one day a week. She didn't push or demand, just asking if it were possible. I told her that I don't want to ruin my mended relationship with food. I don't understand why the parents are so offended. I always pack up Tupperware and eat it throughout the week because it's delicious food. I don't want to disrespect her parents, though. I mean, obviously, you're not the a-hole in this situation. I don't think you're being an a-hole at all. I mean, you're trying everything, you enjoy it, and you're getting a full plate worth of food. And yeah, I mean, different people, different families, maybe even different cultures, I guess I don't know for certain, have different ideas of what's expected at the table. Like what is, what's the sign of having enjoyed a good meal? I remember growing up hearing a thing like, oh, in Italy, belching at the table is a sign to the chef that they did a good job. I don't know if that's true or just, rumor passed around, grade in middle school or whatever. Who knows? But yeah, I guess for some cultures, maybe they, having seconds is a sign to show that you do really like it. But yeah, as you said, back before, you maybe had an unhealthy relationship with food and you don't want to start pushing that. And I can totally respect that. I've had that same issue, and I've definitely had to learn portion control and all that. So yeah, I'm with you. Best I could say is maybe first time around, go up and just if they've got all these different foods, just get less, just get half of each of the things. And spread it out a bit, make it look like the plate isn't so full, and then you're like, oh, that was so good, and you go up for more and try the rest of the stuff and maybe a little bit more of something you really liked, and still eat the same amount, but it just looks like more because you're going for seconds. I mean, because I don't know, otherwise you've tried to be respectful. I don't know what else you tell these parents to be like, look, this is just my way. This is my culture. Please respect it. I don't know. I don't know. Folks in the comments, what would you do in this situation? Because that's my best guess, but maybe that's wrong. I don't know. Also, what is your culture like with this kind of stuff if you come from non-American countries? Because I'd also really like to know that. If there are any Italians, is the burping thing true? Am I the a-hole for telling my brother about the things my parents were saying about his girlfriend behind their backs? My brother, 26 male, and I, 22 female, have a very rocky relationship with our parents, 61 male and 58 female. to say the least. While my brother was able to move out almost as soon as he turned 18, I have stayed with my parents for financial reasons. Because of this, my brother barely ever calls or texts our parents. Last week, my parents invited him to his girlfriend, a 20s female, over for dinner. I'm pretty sure that it was supposed to be a peace offering or some sort of thing. The evening went relatively smoothly, and my parents managed to be civil while they were around. That changed when my brother and his girlfriend left, though. Almost as soon as we were alone, my mother started going off about how she didn't like the girl and how she was sure that she was taking advantage of my brother somehow. For context, both my parents grew up poor, but are now doing very well for themselves. Mom kept going on about how that girl was just using my brother. This didn't sit well with me because the woman she was accusing wasn't there to defend herself, and because I know how much my brother cares for her. I challenged my mom on that, but she pushed back about how she knows girls like that and how boys like my brother have to be very careful. She didn't flat out call her a gold digger, but it was very much implied. Dad didn't really say anything himself, but he kept nodding along and pretty much agreeing with what my mother was saying. Again, none of this sat well with me, so once I got a moment alone, I called my brother and told him everything. He thanked me for telling him and has apparently blocked my parents everywhere. My parents asked if I told them about what they said, and I didn't even bother denying it. They're now accusing me of betraying them and saying that I wasn't supposed to share what they consider to have been a private conversation. They also kept saying how I should put family first, and that's what they were doing when they voiced their concerns about the girlfriend. So, am I the a-hole? So, I don't know. I'm a little bit on the fence on this one because on one hand, there is kind of an unspoken rule about, private conversations. Sometimes people just need to vent and they'll say things that, maybe other people don't want to hear, but I think it can be healthy to get that stuff out. But at the same time, this kind of feels like it was crossing a line and going into more like gossipy territory and stuff. And that stuff's not cool. I don't like gossiping. And also, we don't know these parents. We don't know their history with possibly sabotaging their kids' relationships or just their well-being in general. So I'm kind of up in the air on whether or not this was really an a-hole move or not. But I'm going to trust that these two probably know their parents better than we do. And there's probably a history there. They did indicate as much that it's not been the greatest relationship at the beginning of their post. So I'm going to say probably I don't think it's an a-hole move to share that kind of stuff because that sounds like sabotaging territory that they're leaning into. And giving your brother a heads up, I think it's a good thing. Once again, I'm not 100% sure on this one, but folks in the comments, because I do go in and read them. Not all the time, and not all of them, because sometimes there's a lot, but I do still like to check, so let me know what you think. Today, I effed up by making such a disgusting smell from my butt, it evacuated a courtroom. So, this happened about 5 hours ago. So today I woke up and had really painful cramps due to the deadly woman's monthly cycle, mixed with some spiced chicken that hadn't set right in my belly all night. I go to the toilet about 3 times before work this morning, but it's eased off a bit, so I take tablets, grin and bear it, and then leave for work. Now, my job is working within the prison system and escorting prisoners to certain places, including courts. This is where it all went downhill. I had to escort this prisoner over to the witness box and stand next to her, open court, so I did my usual, but my tummy has started to really hurt again. I'm trying my absolute best to put off a fart which I know is brewing, but I can't hold it much longer. So I do a really silent one and pat myself on the back thinking I had gotten away with it. That is until the prisoner starts coughing and retching and shouting, "What the F's that?" I quickly realize what it must be, but can't admit to such a foul, putrid smell, so start wrinkling my nose as well and gagging. The admin clerk walks slightly closer and retches so hard she has to swiftly put her head in the bin. By this point, it's getting loud and chaos is starting to ensue. Not what you want in court in front of the district judge. He quickly tells me to take the prisoner back over to the closed door and states it must be the pipes. He stands down the whole of the court and makes maintenance come in to check all pipes for any leaks, cracks, anything which could have made that smell happen. Prisoner still has watery eyes. I'm pretending to gag, and the clerk is sipping water next to a bucket. Too long didn't read, so yeah, the court was stood down for over an hour whilst it was searched for the cause of a smell. Not knowing the cause was back down in the cells, hanging her head in shame and regaling her co-workers about the leaky pipe upstairs. Oh, folks, when you got tummy trouble, and especially, folks out there who have to deal with monthly issues like this, let's normalize being able to take sick days and just not have to deal with work, because you shouldn't have to deal going out in public feeling like that and knowing that you're just a ticking time bomb of putridity. I feel bad. That's a miserable thing to go through, and you can't help but feel like someone's gonna put the pieces together. Some Sherlock out there is going to connect the dots and be like, there was no pipe. It must have been someone, but whom? And they're going to find out. Someone knows. Someone's going to be giving you a look in the hallway, and you're going to feel your soul just shrivel up and die. But it still probably won't feel as bad as those people felt in that stinky courtroom. I got my 6th grade bully fired and his girlfriend to break up with him. When I was in 6th grade, I was being bullied by this boy in my grade. We'll call him Tom. He bullied me every day, especially during PE class. I remember thinking about how I was going to enact my revenge on him one day. Well, fast forward to 10 years later. I'm working at a popular lunch spot, and my manager asked me about hiring this new guy named Tom. I knew it was him, and I gave him a bad recommendation, but that wasn't the end of it because he still got hired. I found out that Tom had a girlfriend who he was trying to keep a secret. Anyways, one of my coworkers, who happened to be the niece of the owner, tells me she has a big crush on Tom and that they had intercourse the other night. I say to her, "That's crazy. Did you know about his girlfriend?" To say she was shocked was an understatement. My coworker immediately asked me for the girlfriend's Facebook information, which I eagerly gave to her. She writes up a beautiful Facebook message to Tom's girlfriend telling her everything that had happened between them the night before, and then after that, she goes home and tells the owner about what a slimeball Tom truly was. Tom got fired like a week later, and his girlfriend broke up with him. Ha ha! From the title of this, I was not going to be 100% on your side, because in my mind, it's like in 6th grade, you're still a little kid, and little kids just do dumb stuff, and sometimes are bullies. And in 10 years, going from around 11 to 12 years old to early 20s, people can change and mature a lot, and this person may have made some amends and not deserved this. And then we found out that Tom's a cheater. Oh, Tom, I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, but oh, how I should have doubted you, because you're still a creep. And this doesn't even feel like revenge. I mean, it luckily coincided with revenge for the poster, which, hey, that's the cherry on top, but you cheated and you got outed, because that's what happens when you're a sleazeball. So yeah, Tom, sorry, you got what you deserved. I vaccinated my child. My mother is not happy about it. I currently don't speak to my mother, nor have I for many months now, but somehow she still finds ways to butt into my life and the decisions I make for my child. My husband and I both come from anti-vax families. His side is against it, but doesn't shame us for vaccinating our daughter. My mother, however, really has a lot to say about it. Since we both were raised not to believe in science, it was pretty natural for us to be against vaccinating our daughter when she was born. I had a home birth, so it was easy to avoid everything. We would lie to pediatricians about it and just did what our parents did when we were kids, but since the new vaccine for COVID was released, I started to consider getting it and decided decided to do some actual research on vaccines as a whole. My husband and I made the decision to get vaccinated as well as getting a schedule started for our 6-month-old baby to catch her up. We went in this morning to get her first shots. Everything went smoothly, and so far she seems fine. She's been fussy and sleepier than usual, but the pediatrician said that's normal and will go away in a day or two. We left feeling proud that we were able to educate ourselves effectively and set our baby up for success. Then I get a call. It's my grandpa, or so I thought. I answer, and the first thing I hear is, "When you wake up and she isn't breathing, you'll be sorry. I can't believe you did this to my little girl." I hang up immediately and start to panic. I eventually traced it back to a family member that's a doctor. I was asking her questions about vaccines, and I told her we were going in today. I guess she told my grandpa how excited she was for us, and then he told my mom, and then boom, end of the world. My mother-in-law found out later and seemed supportive, given her opinions about vaccines. She told us, "It's your decision, and I trust you to do what is best for her." So I'm glad we have her to help reassure us a bit, but now I've been getting texts and calls from my mom through my grandpa's phone, absolutely freaking out, saying that she hopes something happens to her so I will see the consequences of my actions. Also that she is praying for her, whatever that means. Ultimately, we are confident with our decision and will continue with her schedule, although at times we do question if we made the right decision. I'm sure everything will be fine, but my mother seriously needs to chill out. I cannot deal with anti-vaxxers. Vaccines are fine. There can be some consequences, rarely, or side effects, whatever, but all in all, they are much better for you than not getting them. And the stuff you hear about them causing autism and stuff like that, no, it doesn't. My God, no, it doesn't. You don't even have to do that much research to look into the person who said that stuff. It's wild. I'm not going to go off on a tangent here, I swear, but please get vaccinated. It is ultimately so much safer than not getting vaccinated. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. I don't care. I do care. It frustrates me. But yeah, no. And your mom also she sounds kind of miserable, but the fact that she then said that she hopes something happens so you'll see the consequences of your actions tells me that she's more concerned with being right than of the health of your daughter. And that's gross. That is an awful thing for her to say. Like, she should be saying, I hope I'm wrong about this because I want my daughter to be safe. Like, not, I hope something bad happens to her. That'll teach you a lesson. But I'm praying for her. F you, Mom. You're right to keep your distance. Good grief. Wife told me on my birthday that she was cheating on me. When I was 48, I was a correctional officer in my country. My wife told me on my birthday she was having an affair. He was the love of her life with a guy because I was working all the time. There were 5 of us and a huge mortgage. The next day she moved out of our house and in with him, leaving the 3 children, youngest was 3, with me. The year before I had a triple bypass, but because of complications due to an assault at the prison, I was still not right, but had to go back to work. I did the best I could, but could not both work and look after the children, shift work. I resigned from the service and took on the role of a stay-at-home dad. After a lot of years of toil and sickness, it's now 16 years later. By the way, within a month of her leaving, she tells me she's pregnant, and the child she had with him turns out to be mine as well, LOL. We never got a divorce, and I am cordial to her for the sake of the kids. The children have very little contact with her and have grown up to be very stable and loving, and my son comes to visit often. I now have a beautiful grandson from the oldest boy. I've never been with another woman since. Call me wounded. I did what I needed to do, and life goes on. I'm very sorry to hear that because, yeah, no matter what, we can't judge this person's relationship with the wife. Maybe there were other things involved that made it rocky. I don't know. But just up and leaving and just leaving the kids behind and stuff like that, not a cool move. And also the cheating. Super not cool move. I'm sorry, if you have problems and you do want a divorce or to leave or whatever, have a discussion, talk, open communication. I'm not saying these people should have stayed together. It's perfectly fine if she wanted to leave, but she did it in an awful way. As far as it being on the birthday, I don't know. I don't even know if that enters in. That's like an extra sprinkle on a sundae of horse crap, you know? What difference is it making, I guess? But to the OP, to stick around and doing everything you could to raise your kids right and take care of them, good for you. I think that's what matters, and I hope that you've had a great life and that you can continue to have a great life. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.